What's going on, everybody? This is John Jerba coming at you with another episode of the Action Fix on YouTube. All right. First of all, let me apologize to everybody out there. It's been about 3 weeks. I've been in hiatus a little bit. I've had some, of course, almost I'm battling a neurological disorder, but also COVID played a visit to my family over the last couple of weeks, so it has not been a fun time. But I'm back. And I'm back this weekend. I was actually going to do this review for Netflix's The Gray Man, which is now streaming on Netflix, starring Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans, along with Anna de Armas, Billy Bob Thornton. So this movie has been talked about for a long time now, and of course it's another Netflix movie where they put in a bunch of change, over $200 million, for this production. So again, it's supposed to be a theatrical caliber movie, but it's on Netflix instead of your local movie theater. And this is actually one of my highly anticipated movies of 2022. I did a lot of hyping for it, showing the trailer, talking about it before it came out and everything. So I was really excited to finally check it out. Now, I got a funny story to tell everybody here before I really get into my review. Now, I watched it 2 days ago. So I actually watched it on Friday. This is Sunday now. I watched it on Friday, but the only problem is when I was watching it on Friday, it was during the day. And I have a little 7-year-old, love her to death, but a lot of times I'll be watching something and she has no problem interrupting me, because she wants to watch something. She'll be like, "Oh, what are you doing, Daddy?" And I'll be like, "Oh, Daddy's watching a movie." She's like, "Can I watch it?" And I'm like, "It's not really a movie for you." So of course I turn it off. I go, "What would you like to watch, Bailey?" And then of course, we end up watching what Bailey wants to watch. So that happened like 5 or 6 times watching this movie for the first time. And I think that led to my initial gut reaction review that I posted on Facebook yesterday, where I pretty much shot the movie down, and really gave it a negative, quick response review. So I'm here to say that I watched it again Sunday night from beginning to end, all 2 hours and 5 minutes or whatever the running time is. I watched it from beginning to end, and I must say that my enjoyment level went up a tad, not a lot, a tad. This movie still has its issues, and I'll get into them here in a couple minutes. So we're talking about The Gray Man, Netflix's big theatrical $200 million production based off the books. And now let me also stress that I have not read the source material, the Gray Man books that this is based off of. So, like a lot of you out there, I'm basing this review solely on the movie itself. Now, should you read the books? We have more enjoyment of the movie if you read the books. I don't know. You'll have to talk to somebody who's read the books. But I think if you read the books, I think you probably hate the movie more because it's probably not going to deliver, what the books do, because, it's, there's a lot of, source material here. And I think, if you're a fan of the books, this is just my gut instinct is that you'll probably hate the movie more than if you did not read the books. And I did not read the books, so I'm going into this, blind. But again, we have Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. Now, let me talk about Ryan Gosling here for a second. He is I'm gonna say that he's pretty much throwing his hat into the ring to be an action star. He's got the charisma, he's got the looks, he's got the physique, he's got the acting chops, and he's believable in action movies. He's done a little bit of action before. He's done like Drive. Only God Forgives, which wasn't really an action movie. It's more like a Pop Boiler drama. But he's had his moments, where he's kind of, that action star status, showed itself, but this is his first full-blown huge action spectacle. And he plays the government operative Sierra 6, or simply known as Six. He's a shadowy government op. Now let's go into the story here, and of course we got Chris Evans who plays Lloyd Hansen, the man tasked with bringing him in, taking him down when certain things happen. So so let's talk about the movie. Now, so basically, what it is the CIA, or a shadow ops branch of the CIA, have this a unit where they take criminals out of prison who have certain skill sets and make them government operatives. And then Ryan Gosling is one of them. Now, we don't know what his real name is. It's never said through the movie. All we do is we know him as Six, meaning he's the sixth operative in the Sierra program. That means there was 5 operatives before him, and he's number 6. Billy Bob Thornton plays Fitzroy, who is Six's handler. He's the one that recruits him out of prison to do, basically, and they call him the Gray Man. He's the guy that they send in, when things, there's no black or white, if you know what I'm saying. So basically, when all else fails or you can't send anybody else, you send in the Gray Man, and that's Sierra 6, played by Ryan Gosling. Now, as the story opens, Six is on assignment. He's there to take out a target, a high value target. And when he fails, or he chooses not to take out the target because there's collateral damage that will be involved. Of course, the crap hits the fan. He still takes out his target, but before he does, the target reveals to him that he's actually Sierra 4. So he's the 4th operative in this unit, and he, Six has been tasked with taking down one of his own. Now, why? Well, because he's got damaging evidence against the agency that has hired him. So, of course, Six does complete the mission, but not before, there's a lot of there's a lot of mayhem to be spent. And now there's a new regime in the agency, and it's led by this guy, Carmichael, who is played by Roger Jean Paul Page. I'm sorry, Roger Jean Page. And he pretty much what's the Sierra program next. It's a thing of the past, and he is not a fan of it. So basically, what happens is now that he knows Six has this vital evidence, that could be damaging to the agency. So what happens? Well, of course, now Six is being hunted by the very own people that hired him in the first place. Now Fitzroy is not necessarily in on this. He's basically on the outs. He's set to retire. He's got a niece who has a pacemaker. She has health issues, so he's on the outs, and he gets sucked in to try to draw Six out, and they use his niece Claire, who is played by the actress, I'll get her name, Julia Butters. So they use her to leverage him to draw Six out. And then they get, of course, Lloyd Hansen, played by Chris Evans. That's right, Captain America. And let me tell you, Chris Evans is having a field day with this movie because you can tell that he's done playing Captain America, the good old boy, and he's tuned up the scenery as Lloyd, who's basically a sociopathic fixer for the government. Lloyd is the man who has some interesting dressing choices and has that porno stash that everybody loves. But yeah, he doesn't care what he has to destroy or go through or who he has to kill to get his target. And basically, so there you go. You got Hansen going after Six. And that we got one shadowy operative trying to nail another one because the one has damaging evidence. Now, the plot, and here's my take on it. This is something we've seen a million times before. You got the assassin or the agent with the heart of gold, and he has a relationship with Fitzroy, who played by Billy Bob Thornton. He's almost like a father figure to him, and the niece, Denise Claire, he develops a bond with her because through flashbacks we see that they bonded. So she's kind of like a daughter to him. So again, we have the shadowy operative who's being hunted by the people who hired him, who is now tasked with protecting an innocent child. So this is something we've seen. I've lost count, like literally lost count. So story wise, it's getting a 1 from me. Now I actually would have given it a 0.5 the first time I watched it, but I bumped it up to 1 just because I like the aspect of Lloyd Hansen, played by Chris Evans, going up against Six, these two elite operatives, button heads, So the second time I watched it, I enjoyed that aspect a lot more than I did the first time. Let me tell you. So yeah. And I'll get into characters, but we also have if you guys have seen Netflix's Iron Fist, Jessica Henwick, who was also in the new Matrix movie, she plays Suzanne Brewer, but she's wasted in this movie. Let me tell you, her character, is basically just someone to yell at Lloyd because he's doing all these bad things and he doesn't care, what he's destroying or who he's killing, and she's basically the conscience of the agency, and she's like, we're going to go to jail for this. It's like, what are you thinking? That's basically her role in this movie, is to yell at Chris Evans, when he's blowing shit up. But I'll get to more of that later. So yeah, there you go. There's the storyline. So Six has damaging evidence. He's being hunted by the people who hired him. You got the new regime who wants him out. You got Lloyd Hansen, the sociopathic, Mr. Fixer, the guy you send in when all other avenues have been exhausted. So yeah, so there it is, everybody. There's the pitch. So yeah, so it gets a 1 from me. Now pacing wise, again, I'm torn. I actually was going to give this a lower score the first time because again, this movie's like 2 hours and 5 minutes, and I think it just the Russo brothers who directed this movie just stretched it out way too long. Overstuffed it, with these characters, and basically all you want to, basically you just want to see Gosling and Evans. But yet, you do have a star support. You also got Alfred Woodward, who has a cameo, as one of Six's allies. You got, Billy Bob Thornton, like I said. But basically, it's Evans and Gosling's show. But then there's flashbacks, and so the pacing kind of goes back and forth in the first third of the movie, it really slows it down, or at least in my eyes. I got a lot of people saying, that it was needed. Yeah, I can see where it's needed in the sense that it's going to make you care about these characters a bit more. But I think they could have done it differently, and done it in a more way where it didn't like slow the proceedings down. So yeah, pacing wise, I gave it a 1. Now action. Let me talk about action. Now this is my pet peeve of this movie. Let me tell you, because there's signs of greatness in this movie. Like I said, Netflix shelled out $200+ million for this movie, and you can see it in the production values. But then there's one sequence, and I'll talk about it in a minute. But for the most part, a lot of the action sequences look like they were shot on the set of John Carpenter's The Fog. Let me tell you. I mean, there's fog, there's smoke, there's debris. It's hard to see things. And there's a lot of cool fight choreography going on, like in certain sequences where it would have been more enhanced if you could actually see what the hell was going on. Now, that's my biggest pet peeve. And then there's a huge CGI induced sequence involving an airplane, and Six's big escape, towards the beginning of the movie, which if you know movies and you've seen CGI, for the money they spent, this really is cringeworthy stuff. Let me tell you, I was actually going to give the action a 0.5 just because of this scene alone. And let me tell you, if you've seen the movie, hopefully you know what I'm talking about, because let me tell you, and I'm not the only one that has said this. I've talked to a lot of people who there were some people who even wanted to turn the movie off after the sequences because it put them off so bad. And like I said, if you haven't seen it yet, then check it out. Let me know what you think, because like I said, it's cringeworthy stuff, especially for the type of movie that this is. I've seen better stuff, like in lower indie fare, that has been done in the past. So, but then there's this little speck of brilliance. Let me tell you, like, and then we have the Prague sequence, the big Prague chase sequence where they basically destroy a city street in Prague. And you got mercenaries, you got machine guns, you got firepower, bullets flying, you got cars getting destroyed. It's basically Michael Bay induced mayhem done by the Russo brothers. But this sequence, if the rest of the action was like this sequence, I would have given it a two, or at least a 1.5. But I'm giving the action a one because this sequence bumped it up for me. But then, so we got, it's like a bookends. You got mediocre action sequences. You got this extraordinary, action sequence in the middle. Then it goes right back to what it was doing at the beginning, where you got, fog and smoke and debris, and it's dark, and it's like, there's so much going on, and it's like, and then the editing. Oh, again, it's not so much the copy camera editing. It's fast paced. It's just, I don't think they needed to like really like do as much editing as they did. They should have just like shot back and let the action do its thing, because Gosling and Evans, they came to play in this movie. But it's like, it's like, oh, we gotta sell it. So a lot of quick cuts, like bam, boom, boom, and it's like okay, it's like I'm trying to watch what's going on here. Now there are times where I've been okay with that, but here it is all over the place. And let me tell you, if they had just slowed the editing process down, and filmed it in a way, like call Chad Stahelski, because we got the teaser for John Wick 4 over the weekend at San Diego Comic-Con, and let me tell you, that 66-second teaser outshined The Gray Man. And I said that on social media. I was like, a 66-second teaser just brought down The Gray Man, because like you see that, and it's just little glimpses, but you've already seen the first two movies of John Wick. But it's like, why can't you do that? I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly like John Wick, but it's like take some notes, and like I said, the Russos directed The Winter Soldier, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which is one of my favorite comic book movies, and they did Endgame and they did Civil War and everything. I think their strengths lie in those comic book movies, but doing like these more 80s 90s style homage actions type movies, I don't think this is their strength. And I think they should go back, to directing Marvel movies. Nothing against them, but they fumbled the ball on this one. Now let's talk about characters. So of course, character wise, I've already talked about the initial ones. We got Gosling Six, we got Evans Lloyd Hansen, we got Carmichael over here, and there's Lloyd Hansen. We got Jessica Henwick, like I said, and of course we got the No Time to Die is Ana de Armas, who plays Danny Miranda, and her character is frustrating in the sense that um, she's her character isn't really like laid out for anybody. I mean, she's an operative. She's tasked with helping out Six at the beginning, but then she's a good looking agent who decides to help out Gosling because she knows he's in the right, So it's just she's just like you got to have the good looking guy and you got to have the good looking girl, It's like boom, put them together, But then like I said, you got Billy Bob Thornton, who plays Fitzroy, who plays the handler, Alfred Woodward, I'm so sorry, Alfred Woodard, who plays Margaret Cahill, who's another ally to Six, but she's more of an extended cameo too. But she elevates the scenes that she's in. Billy Bob Thornton elevates the scenes that he's in. So I, to be honest, I was going to give it a one, but I bumped characters up to 1.5, and basically just because I love Gosling Six, and here's why. If you've seen the movie, then you know what I'm talking about. He's so calm, cool, and collected. He's got the three C's going on in these action scenes. Like there's buildings falling down around him, but he's just like he tells Claire, the little girl, they have this thing where it's just another Thursday, and he takes that. It's like he nothing phases this guy. He's just like he's just he gets stabbed or gets shot. He's like, "Oh, oh, oh." It's like and then there's a part where Anna de Armas asks him, how are you doing? He's like, oh, my ego's a little bruised. He's got like it's like he just went through this humongous like action sequence, but he's just like, it's you know it's like, what are you gonna do? It's so I just love his character as it's like nothing really phases him, and he really does a great job. And like I said, he's got the makings of being the next great action star. Like you can see in this picture right here. He sells it. He looks it. And of course, what can you say about Chris Evans? Lloyd Hansen. Lloyd Hansen. He's got wonderful fashion sense. He's got the portal stash, and their banter between Six and Evans is one of the highlights of the movie. But they needed more of that. Like they hook up, like Hanson finds Six in this one sequence. And again, this is one of the action sequences I was disappointed because like Gosling Six is doing some cool hand to hand knife stuff, but it's like all foggy and everything. But then Hanson and him hook up and they have that banter, and then that's where Hanson's he's and I just love that scene. But I wanted more of that. But then it's just Hanson, back, at Command Central, watching everything through a monitor, as mercenaries are going after Six. I wanted Hanson going after Six more. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it was billed as. It was billed as, Gosling versus Evans, but we don't get that until the ending, and like I said, the ending, is more the same where, you got some full action, but it could have been better. It could have been filmed better and it could have been lighted better, but the initial fight between Evans and Gosling, pretty solid. But like I said, again, it's got quick edits, and it's dark, so it could have been a lot better. But character wise, I loved Evans, but his shtick kind of wore on as the movie went on for me, and I was like, it was kind of like Evans was trying to best himself with his lines, he said something clever here, and now it's like, let me do it better here, no, let me do it better here, let me do it better here, let me do it better here, and it was kind of like he was trying to like outperform himself through the whole movie, so it kind of jarred me a little bit, but for the most part, I enjoyed the two, and I thought that they needed to be together on screen more, and I thought that was a huge wasted opportunity. So yeah, 1.5 character wise for me. Now let's talk about overall enjoyments. Now, again, if I had done this review the first time I watched it with my 6 or 7 interruptions, I probably would have given it a 0.5, but I gave it a 1 for overall enjoyment. So what does that mean? Well, it means that gives, here, let me show you here. I'm going to create it. There you go. Oh, 19. You gotta love it. It's 5.5 out of 10. So, but and here's the thing: I wanted to give it like a 6, 7, or an 8. Because from the initial trailer, and the hype and everything for it, to be a 5.5, I think is a failure. I think it's an epic fail actually for this movie. Like I said, the Prague sequence was like mayhem at its finest, you know, and the Russos, but then they dropped the ball with the rest of the action sequences. They dropped the ball in sense of having Evans and Gosling interact more with each other, throughout the movie. And then the side characters, again, a lot of one note. Like Carmichael, he's one note. He's just a dick, he's in charge, he's the new regime, and he wants Gosling dead, and he's trying to act more tough than he is. It's like he's in an expensive suit and glasses. It's like, dude, get off the screen. Let Evans do his thing. So yeah, so there's a lot of missed opportunities in The Gray Man, and it's a 5.5 out of 10, which means it's Action Flix approved. Um, um, but uh, let me fix this here. Hang on. So yeah, so it's a 5.5 out of 10 for me. Like I said, that's a fail. Like I said, because I wanted the Green Man to be a 7 or 8, so much better. And I've had people come after me on Facebook and on Twitter and be like, oh my God, how can you say these things about him? But it's like that's how I feel. It's like, and I've only been watching movies, for 45 years. So it's like, it's like there was little brief glimpses of brilliance, but then for the most part, it was just a huge massive letdown. And I wanted to like it so much more than I did. And after like Top Gun Maverick, it's like I don't think anything's gonna be Top Gun Maverick. I mean, if John Wick would have came out this year, oh, it's like they would have. I think they would have been neck and neck for the best action movie of 2022. But as it is, John Wick's not coming out till March of 2023. So that's not going to happen this year. But the teaser for John Wick, let me tell you, that came out what was it, yesterday or Friday? Came out Friday, and like I made the joke on social media. I said, the Gray Man just got bested by a 66-second teaser. You got Donnie Yen and Keanu Reeves squaring off with gun fu and swords. For Christ's sake, and then it's like the one part where he shoots the guy and it looks like he explodes, and it's just like he's on a car shooting, and it's like get Chad Stahelski to do sequels for the Green Man because I think and 8711 action design because I think they can actually improve on what this movie had. Now let me talk about this though, and this is interesting because obviously now the movie's open ended, how it, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but there is room to play, with sequels. But it was reported, and this is before the initial movie came out, that that Netflix is talking about doing prequel movies with Chris Evans' Lloyd Hansen. Now, here's the interesting thing. At least, let me know what you think. I think that I think to do prequels with Lloyd Hansen, like he's the bad guy in this movie. He's sociopathic. He's crazy, but in a calm way. So it'll be interesting to see like if they do prequels with his character, like are we supposed to like him now? Is this going to be him before he turned into this person that he was in the Gray Man? So it's going to be interesting to see if they do decide to pull the trigger with these prequels with Lloyd Hansen's character. So yeah, so obviously you're probably gonna get a sequel, because they want this to be their franchise, enough, they want this to be their Mission Impossible, franchise, with Gosling and everything. So it's gonna be interesting to see how things are played out in the future. Now, did I enjoy it enough to want to see a follow up? I'm not sure because if it's done better, of course. But I just don't want to be let down again. And this movie let me down a great deal because, like I said, there was glimpses of brilliance, but it was a massive letdown from the beginning to the end. And like I said, that one sequence, that Prague sequence, it's like they blew their load on that sequence. It's like they spent like one it's like they spent $150 million on that one sequence alone, and they only had 15 million around it. So I don't know. So that's my thoughts though on the Gray Man. And like I said, I mean, after with my neurological disorder and then having suffering through COVID this past couple of weeks, I tell you what, I'm on the end of it. So now before I end here today, I'm behind on my stuff, so I got a bunch of reviews that I still want to do. So this week coming up, be on the lookout for Bringing Back Dead, which stars the great Gary Daniels. Gary's back. He's doing martial arts in a movie. He's one of my top 3 '90s direct-to-video action stars, so I'm excited to check that one out. So be on the lookout for that. I also want to review Queen Banshee with Antonio Banderas and Jamie King. That came out a little while ago, and I was going to review that when it came out, but of course, life intervened. The Princess with Joey King for Hulu. That I actually did get a chance to see, and I was going to do a review for that. But of course, again, I'm behind. And of course, I saw Thor: Love and Thunder, and I kind of, if you read my post on social media, it was kind of cryptic where I said I wanted here. I'll show you. I wanted more of this store, and and basically it's like they're making fun of four, and it's too comic. But I wanted to do a review of that, so be on the look at that. Maybe I'll do a review for Florida when the Blu-ray gets closer to release. So yeah, and of course I got my interviews. I'm trying to put together a string of interviews with '90s action stars, and I got Michael Worth. I talked to Michael Worth. You may know him from such movies as Street Crimes, U.S. Steals 2, Be the Best. So yeah, so I talked to him. Great interview, great guy. We talked for almost 2 hours. I got a couple other interviews that I'm piecing together, and of course I'm behind on because of course my health issues and everything. So yeah, so I got a lot of good things coming up. So tips and donations greatly appreciated. Check out my website at actionflix.com, and don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. So there you go. So there it is, The Gray Man on Netflix, starring Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, and Ana de Armas. All right. So what are you going to say? It's a 5.5 out of 10 for me. Now, if I watch it a third or a fourth time, I might bump it up. Who knows? It's one of those movies where, it's like I wanted it to be better than it was. And like I said, Gosling's cool through it, man. He definitely sells the role, and he definitely is having fun with it um, as is Chris Evans, as Lloyd Hansen. But I wanted a lot more out of it, and that's what I got. All right. So until next time, everybody, make sure to keep it locked and loaded right here because we are your destination for everything action in 2022 and beyond. God forbid if hopefully I got my COVID out of the way, but I'm still dealing with my neurological disorder, so thank you for everybody for your kind words and wishes to help me in my healing process as I battle this. Because I tell you what, it's something else. Let me tell you, I do not wish this upon my worst enemy. I have my good days and my bad days, So today was a good day, and I got to watch The Great Man again, and I enjoyed it more than I did the first time. So, all right, everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will talk to you next time. I got a lot of good reviews coming up, so be on the lookout for that, and a lot of good interviews coming up. So, like I said, keep it locked and loaded right here, everybody. And until next time, take it easy, be kind to one another, and we'll talk to you.